Hi, folks. Super excited. So, I've decided to do more YouTube videos. So, I feel like the word that's bubbling up is Archetype Awakenings. I'm going to be talking more about the archetypes, rich symbolism that you can dive into, that it will illuminate these parts within you so that you can have that shift and that transformative approach to life. That is my deep heart intention with these conversations. Right now, I feel it's me sharing transmissions with you, but I feel like this is going to be a series. I'm going to invite people into conversations about different archetypes and different themes that relate to the planets and different archetypes. So stay tuned. It's going to be very juicy. So I'm kicking this off with Neptune. I want to dive into Neptune because collectively Neptune has shifted into Aries, or back in March, actually, on the 30th of March this year, 2025. And so there's a lot of change there. So I wanted to dig into this planet that is often quite elusive and misunderstood. So, Neptune, we are in the mystical realm, the realm of imagination, illusion, and intuition. Whenever we're in like a Neptunian phase of our life, or you may be dominant in Neptune energy, and you know that Neptunian types are very spiritual, very creative, and they have this ability to tap into this collective consciousness, this energy that they're in tune with. And there is a deep sensitivity, a deep empathy for the world, to bring more compassion into the world. So if you're Neptunian, you may relate to these themes. I am, as a Pisces rising. And of course, there's always strengths to that, and there's also shadows of that. So I'll be diving into that in this video. So in the realm of Neptune, we're in those downloads that pour through you, the intuitive downloads that just come through you so easily, so effortlessly. And to me, that is your soul speaking. That is also spirit speaking to you. And most of the time, sometimes we don't act on these because it feels bigger than us. That's the realm of Neptune. Something that is bigger than us, something that is being carried along by the ocean, by the waves. There's something very poetic about Neptune. And it's hard to grasp because Neptune is ruled by the two fishes, the fishes that are bound by a cord, and they are swimming in different directions. And it's really linked to this idea of Pisces, because Neptune rules Pisces in astrology, and Neptune being boundless, being it doesn't know what is yours and what is mine. So, if you have this strong energy in you, probably boundaries is really difficult to even know how to put a boundary in place, because this Neptunian energy wants to merge with life. It wants to merge with the emotions, the intuition. It wants to be so fluid that there is no separation. And Neptune values being connected with it all, and the fish, one represents sorrow and one represents joy. So there is this real two sides of this energy. On the surface, it feels very soft, very creative, very spiritual, very open, but there's a real depth here. There's a depth of swimming in that ocean. How willing are you allowing yourself to go into those visions, into those downloads you're receiving? This is the realm of Neptune. And Doesn't matter if you're not strong Neptune, that's just something I wanted to illustrate. But we will all go through what I call Neptunian times in our life, where we feel we may feel a bit lost, we lose our direction, and we feel confused, we feel a bit like a lost soul trying to find our way, we're drifting. This is what this energy, you can relate it to your own life. When are those times where you have drifted, where you have lost your way and questioned it all? This is the Neptunian energy playing out. And it can be very elusive. It's not quite here, it's not quite there. It's a very shape-shifting energy. So those periods in your life where maybe there's a Neptune transit going on for you, or you just feel in this sort of illusion, you can't quite see clearly. That's where Neptune is actually asking you to surrender, asking you to surrender into the intuition, into the soulful memory that resides within you. That's where the inspiration lies, that's where the answers are, in that memory, in that water memory. The water holds so much. But water, don't be deceived by water, because water is also so powerful. Water in the Chinese world, they see water as the most powerful element because it can literally mold things. It can change things like the earth. It molds it, it changes it. But then also water can be still, it's malleable, it's adaptable. So there's all these qualities here, whether you're looking at this from the lens of, I'm quite Neptunian, whether you might be a Pisces rising, which means Neptune is ruling your chart and the way you're being, or it may be that Neptune is really strong in your chart. Or if you don't know, just connecting in with this elusive energy, a realm of digging deeper into the psychic abilities. This is the realm of the senses, the six senses, the things beyond what we can see and feel, and even more senses. And in that, on the shadow side, there can be it can seem like we're looking through rose-tinted glasses sometimes. Like we can't see things clearly, things feel muddled, things feel confusing. And because Pisces can be very delusional sometimes. That's that energy where it doesn't see things, it sees what it wants to see. And I've got many examples of this in my life. So many times where people have come into my life and I felt really bonded to them. And I remember a friend when I was living in London. I can't remember how we met, but she was Russian, and we had this real deep emotional bond. And I remember she had a job and then she lost this job, and she was really relying on me as that safe space, as that compassionate friend that would tell her it's all going to be okay. And I was that. And I held space for her. She called me a lot, and I was giving and giving a lot of energy to her, to the point where actually it was draining in the end. And I'm sharing this story to illuminate this Neptunian energy. I almost didn't have any boundaries. It was like we were just merging, and our energy, it was like I was absorbing all her stuff. And then she felt better, but I felt really drained and just fatigued. So that's how Neptune can present in a real life situation. You're almost with a person and you don't know what is yours and what is theirs. That's where there are no boundaries and it's not healthy. And eventually I was giving so much to that relationship, and it wasn't a giving and receiving, right? Like every relationship needs to be healthy. And it was very one-sided. It was always her sort of putting her problems onto me and me listening and not putting the boundaries in. So I'm responsible because I didn't put the boundaries in. And I was so drained all the time. And she would call me up all the time and I would answer it, the phone. And then at that point, I left London. I moved out of London back to Southampton. And she was still very much seeking that attention, seeking that safe space from me. So I would, speak to her on the phone really regularly and again, just be really drained. And I can't even remember, there was something that happened and it really, I started to see and realize, okay, I'm not getting anything from this relationship. I'm literally giving, giving, giving. What is it? What am I receiving in return? Nothing. I'm just feeling drained all the time. And to me, that is not a healthy relationship. And she'd said something and it was unkind. It was hurtful. I can't remember what it was. And I said that, and I said, that thing you said, that really upset me. And I feel like that, I told her how I felt. I can't even remember what it was. And from that moment, because I told the truth and I wasn't doing the whole people pleasing, I literally told her how it was. She backed off and she literally said on that call, she's like, that's not okay. And she was really resistant to me just speaking the truth about how I felt. And she backed off and she said, that's it. I don't think we should speak again. And that was the end of that friendship. And I can look at this now through the lens of astrology because I understand myself much better now of going, okay, I didn't have the boundaries there. If I was to put those healthy boundaries in, it would be a very different situation. But so you see, we can see, because we love someone, we care about them, we can see the situations through those rose-tinted glasses. I was, and in some part of me, I wanted to be the savior. This is an archetype of Neptune, of Pisces. It's being the savior, being the martyr, wanting to save people, right? Wanting to rescue them. But that is so disempowering for the other person. Oh my gosh. So it was this dynamic of me wanting to save her. So I was like almost her counselor on the end of the phone, giving her, guiding her, basically coaching her through that stuff because she didn't have a job and she was always struggling with money. That was the same story. And yeah, I saw that relationship through these rose-tinted glasses. I didn't see it for what it was. And so when these situations happen, when we're gripped by Neptune, when we're in the realm of Neptune, we need to take those sunglasses off so we can see the truth, so we can see our blind spots and go, okay, I see what's happening. Am I going to choose to keep this happening? Am I going to voice that? Am I going to be truthful about what's going on here with that person? And I know sometimes that's hard to do. In the realm of Pisces, Pisces is deeply compassionate. Neptune is deeply compassionate, empathetic, and sometimes too much to the nth degree, where they will forgive things. And forgiveness is a part of this, but they will brush it aside, and say something happened that, somebody triggers us or activates us. And we don't want that conflict because it's edgy, right? It feels like tension. So this Neptune will sort of sweep over it, brush it under the carpet and make out it's all okay when it's not. So see where that's happening in your life. Where are you literally wearing these rose-tinted glasses and not seeing the truth, not seeing the reality of what something is, whether that's in your relationship, in your business, whatever it is. Take those rose tinted glasses off and look at the reality, because Neptune will paint an illusion. That's where we delude ourselves. We actually deceive ourselves because we think the thing, oh yeah, you know, she's struggling, so of course she needs to voice it. Well, when is she ever asking how I am? When is she ever asking what's going on in your world? No. So be truthful, right? This is where we see through the illusions. And sometimes we have illusions because it's safer, right? It feels more comfortable to be in what is familiar rather than saying, oh, I'm going to look at that blind spot. I'm going to look at that shadow piece that is playing out. I'm going to see it for what it is. It takes courage and it's a process. And if you are very Neptunian, that will be a big learning, how to put boundaries in with people. And I know this is one of my lifelong lessons. It's something I'm still learning. Like, I didn't even really know what boundaries were, you know? And through the lens of Neptune, we can look at our lives and go, okay, where can I surrender more into life? Because Neptune on the light side is very adaptable, can literally pierce through like darkness and see the light, see the positive. That's how, you know, people with strong Neptunian energy, if you're Pisces somewhere in your chart, you will relate to this, of deep understanding for the other, deep sensitivity. But where it goes over into hypersensitivity, it's not healthy, is when you don't have those boundaries in place. And most of the people that I speak to who are sensitive, if you relate to that, or highly attuned, if you're attuned to energies, really the number one thing you need to learn is how to put boundaries in. Boundaries with people, also energetic boundaries. Golden spheres, that's a whole nother video, but protecting your energy is going to be a game changer for you. If you really learn and master how to do this, you won't be leaking energy all over the place. You know, I used to go into shopping center, or like even a supermarket, which I don't really like going into because the lights are so bright. And I would just, my nervous system would feel so frazzled, like just, it was too much. And it was almost like I could feel everything in the supermarket, all the energies. And it's like, I don't like going into them now, but it's okay because I have my boundaries in place. I protect my energy. I have the essential oils and things and the Palo Santo that also helps to protect me. That's the number one thing that you must master if you're highly sensitive. And Neptune is the realm of sensitivity. So if you see a pattern of burnout, or you're, you know, burnout or exhaustion, it's probably because you haven't got those boundaries in place. That's one aspect of it. So boundaries, I can't stress that enough. If you're Neptunian, or you don't know if you're Neptunian, you're even in this Neptunian phase of your life where things are just feeling very fluid and there's many different directions you could go in, ground and put your boundaries in place. And that's another thing with Neptunian. It's watery, but it can bring us up into the higher chakras. It's like we're up here, we're in the crown chakra, we're connected to spirit. So, but we also need to ground to bring through that wisdom, you know. And Neptune is the realm of the intuition, the things that aren't tangible, you know, those prophetic dreams you have, those visions you have in your meditation. It's all Neptunian. And so to bring it back to the transit that's happening, that's that's going on right now. The Neptune moved to Aries back in March, and it was in its home sign of Pisces for 14 years. Now it's going to be in Aries for the next 13 years. So it's a big transition. You know, we've been in the realm of spirituality, of no boundaries, literally no borders, things like that. Big waves of people getting into yoga and mysticism and all the spiritual things. And now it's like Neptune coming into Aries is a big shift. When any outer planet changes, it's a big jolt to the system collectively and individually. And this is really about owning, you know, being the leader of your life. Neptune in Aries. Aries is the fire sign. It's let's go, let's take action. No more dreaming and drifting, which that Neptunian energy is guilty of, almost too much so. Right, we've got the vision, we've got the kind of we're in the imagination. Right, how are we going to take action on that? How are we going to make those visions a reality? So yeah, it's big changes for ourselves, and it's also really, you know, this collective energy. It's like, how do you know, initiate things yourself, running with those ideas and making them happen? Because if you just dream and drift, yes, we need time to dream and drift, but also we need to take action. So this is going to be a fire up your ass of integrating all those spiritual, you know, learnings and wisdom that you've acquired, and going, okay, I'm going to share it. This is what I'm going to do with that. This is what how I'm going to lead, and how I'm going to be more compassionate in an assertive way, because you can be compassionate and boundaried. I just want to say that you can be compassionate and have healthy boundaries. Most people feel like if you put a boundary in place, you can't be kind at the same time. And that's a belief that I held for a long time that I had to unpick. No, actually, boundaries help everyone feel safe. You know, they know what you need and want, which makes them know exactly where they are. It makes things clear. If you say, no, I don't want to go to that music thing, it's not for me, it's not my taste, that person actually knows what you don't like, you know. Or you say, okay, for example, this is an example from a while ago in my life of like, okay, I'm gonna go to the baby's first birthday party, but I'll stay only for 2 hours. So that's a boundary. You're literally expressing, I'll do the thing, this is the boundary, right? And that's what we need to be doing all the time. You know, often when you're angry or irritated by something, it's because a boundary's been crossed. And don't go blaming the other person, because it might not be, you probably most of the time haven't expressed that boundary, haven't put that in place, right? So we need to communicate these boundaries to people so that we can protect our energy. Yeah, and say no to the things that don't light us up, and yes to the things that do. It's that simple. We overcomplicate it. So yeah, that is the realm of Neptune, and I feel like there's so much more I could say, but it's really tuning into this watery part of us, the higher self, the soul, the spirit in us that sees beyond the human world, you know, that perceives energy, that is really in tune with the symbolism of nature, you know, that is in tune with the wind. There's a shamanic quality to it. Seeing beyond the mind, the everyday, the mundane world, and expanding your consciousness. This is the realm of Neptune. And Neptune will gift you things that are divinely inspired, that are from spirit, you know, and that's a gift. Roll with that. Because chances are, if Neptune has gifted you with something, and it always will if we are that open channel to receive, that is a big sign that the collective needs that thing, needs that vision that you've received, you know, whether it's an idea for a painting or a course that you're going to run, and it feels bigger than you. That's the realm of Neptune. Listen to Neptune. Make space to hear these, to hear and connect with your imagination. You know, it's often in stillness that's when those divine inspirations come in. When we're quiet, when we're still, when we're an open channel for what wants to come through us. That's Neptune. This has been so nourishing to record. I hope it's been really insightful to help you see that Neptunian energy in your own life, to illuminate that for you. And I would love to hear if there's any Neptunian experiences where, you may have struggled with boundaries. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your insights. What is bubbling up from this conversation about Neptune?